Good afternoon. This is Eric Rogers, Clock Rings app. Today I'm going to show you how to use your clock in features and edit your time card. Normally what you'd be doing is just standing in front of your time clock and press begin tour now. However, you can also press begin tour at a custom time. One of the things that's nice about this is this allows you to set up what your day is going to look like. Like you could go ahead and say, let's go ahead and clock in today at noon. Then you can choose how many hours you're going to have. And then you can come down here and choose how long your lunch is going to be. And then you can see when each of your lunches, what time your lunches are. And you could change them so that it fits your day a little bit better. So like as an example, if you would like, you could take a lunch at 5 o'clock and then you could be done by 5:50. And in this particular case, that's a little close. If you want, you can choose to take a lunch at 1800 hours or 6 o'clock, and then you'll be done by 6:30 or 18:30, and then you'll go home at 20:50. Now, if you notice it says 20:51, I'm going to go ahead and make a change to that. And now you see that the begin tour will be at 12 o'clock, lunch at 6 o'clock, back into lunch at 6:30, and then gone for the day at 8:30. Okay? So what you do now is you press start. And this is what the Clock Rings app looks like once you're clocked in. And you can see that 66% of our day is gone through. And now what we could do is we could clock out for lunch. And these are just for demo purposes. I'm just trying to get you to understand and see how everything works. But if here we click on out to lunch, and then now we can see that we have 29 minutes to clock out for lunch. So now we go enjoy ourselves, go hang out. And you can see all of the stuff up at the top, what's going on. So in the left, you have the regular time. The right, you have the digital time. You can see the status that we're on lunch, and you can see that we've worked 5.6 hours, and you can see there's an estimate clocked out time, and there's a remaining time. That's how many more hours you have to go, and then how many more hours until the next clock event, how many hours until the next alarm. And again, if you want, you can go ahead and clock in from lunch, or you can check out your schedule, and then there's your schedule. Kind of gives you an idea of how long everything is going to be. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over real quick to a different section, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the time card itself. And I'm going to talk to you about how to edit your time card. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to punch history. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at last week, last Friday. You can see as an example, I had several different clock rings. I had a total of 4 clock rings for a total of 10 hours. And if you press this little button up here, you can add a note, or you could duplicate the day. And you can also just click on the individual item and you can modify it, change it, do whatever you would like, or you could leave a note. And if you press edit, you can select the whole day, and then you could delete it if you would like. You can choose, what do you want to do? Do you want to delete just the 4 entries that are selected? Do you want to delete records that are older than 2 weeks? Or do you want to delete the entire history? I'd be careful doing this. I don't recommend that you do this. There's nothing wrong with keeping the history that you have. I would go ahead and keep the history. Now I'm going to go ahead and press OK to get back out of that. Now, let's go over that duplication process. So let's duplicate the day. So what we can do, if you want, we could duplicate the 4 punches that we have from that particular day, how many hours it is, and we could duplicate it for certain days. We could choose, let's duplicate it for the 13th through the 15th. So basically next week. And then we choose Monday through Friday. And all we have to do is press duplicate, and all those time punches will automatically be copied over there. Yes, you should probably do this on a case-by-case basis, but if you forgot to do it for a little bit, this is an example of how you can do it. And I wanted to also show you something. If you made a mistake if you wanted to, you could undo a mistake. Let's go back over here and I'll show you how to undo a mistake. Say you're just sitting here looking at the app and you decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and mess with it a little bit, and you accidentally press in from lunch. Directly across where the weather's at, you're going to have an option to undo. So you press in from lunch. Oh, there it is. And you can say undo. I did not mean to do that. It will put you back on the clock and continue. And if you notice here on Sunday, July 12th, the in from lunch is not there. So that gives you the opportunity to go ahead and feel good that it was undone. If you want, you can read a little bit more about the settings for undo, but this is how you do it. Basically, you can shake the device, or you have about 5 seconds to fix a mistake that goes across the screen like that, like I just showed you. So now let's pretend that our lunch is over, and let's go ahead and clock in from lunch. So we're going to clock in from lunch, and now you notice that the device has changed a little bit again. And we're going to look over at our time card, and we could see that our time card has progressed quite well, but our lunch was not quite as long as we intended. So as an example, we talked about editing earlier. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to edit. And then now we went out to lunch at 17, and now we need to come back at 17:50 to have a half an hour lunch, and now we have a half an hour lunch, and we're just cruising along for the day. Then if we wanted to, we could take a look at this, and we could modify things a little bit by looking at our schedule, and you see everything's looking pretty good there. And then if we want, we could go ahead and end the tour. And so we ended the tour, the day is over. And now if we look, you see there's the undo. We could click on that if we would like. Now here is our full punches for the day. And if we want, we could change that so that we have a full 8 hours, which if I remember right, it was 2050 was what we needed to work to get a full 8 hours. And now you see, well, we have 8 hours. So the app is not connected to text. You can make changes. It's designed to help you remember things. So if you made a mistake and you forgot to edit it, or you forgot to clock in or clock out, you can go back and make those changes. And just as an example, up here in the top right, if you click on there, you have several things that you can choose from. And if you also track your breaks, you could also add the breaks there too. That is pretty much clock rings, time punches. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day.